Yo, Joe knows half the battle, kung fu grip, all that good shit. I mean, they just throw that in there right at the beginning.
Well, throw it in. They crowbar.
Yeah, they do. But I never paid any attention to G.I. Joe growing up because I had liberal family it came from, so I thought it was
they would
just
let you play with guns.
No, I just thought it was my choice. I just thought it was propaganda for the military. I was like, fuck that shit. But now I've seen this movie, I'm like, no, this isn't propaganda for the military.
What are you talking about?
This is way too dumb. It doesn't even resemble the military.
Man, shittiest military of all time.
Yeah, Cyrus is from Virginia. They give him guns at 3 years old. He's playing G.I. Joe for real. Yeah, that motherfucker out there looking like Jed Clampett shooting at possums and shit. Pick one up, possum! Instead of yelling Cobra and shit.
Yeah, when we're not holding down Ned Beatty.
Yeah, and having sex with him.
You guys never did Strike Oil, did you?
But man, yeah, this movie. Look, let me just come right out and tell you right now that this is the dumbest thing I've seen all summer. I mean, it really is. I thought Transformers was, but this is.
I'm sorry. I don't think this was nearly as dumb as Transformers.
But it's kind of a compliment to call this movie dumb. It's weird to say that, but it's so dumb that it becomes kind of sublime in a way.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like getting a nail in your head. At first it hurts, but after a while you just kind of get numb and you just kind of go with it.
Yeah, you're like, wow, I'm kind of hallucinating a little bit.
It kind of looked like cereal on a big screen. A lot of fruit flavors flying all over the place. And it just seems like loads of fun.
Oh, co-host, stop. Now, you're the one who grew up with this version of G.I. Joe.
I didn't grow up with no goddamn version of G.I. Joe. Stop spreading those rumors.
What it looked like was the Phantom Menace with no budget. Is what it looked like.
And still, it made more sense than that movie. Man, no, look.
Hey, man, what's you guys saying? It doesn't make sense. Okay, basically, Marlon Wayans and Channing Tatum are soldiers who get something stolen from them by Channing Tatum's ex-girlfriend, so they get recruited by Dennis Quaid and his army of supermodels in an underground base.
Supermodels? You're even considering the little Latin guy?
I guess he was from Morocco. But yeah.
I don't know where he was from.
That is a Moroccan actor, and his name is Saeed. I believe his last name is Tag Maui. And he's just happy to not be playing a terrorist blowing up something.
Oh, yeah. I was like, who is this Joe member? Was this like some kind of special edition that I never saw at the store?
Hey, man, it could have been Sergeant Slaughter or the Refrigerated Perry, so I'm glad to have this dude.
Yeah, no, this movie, look, it's a Hasbro toy based on a cartoon from the 80s. And really, when you watch the cartoon, it's a dumb cartoon. It's a terrorist organization that apparently gets a shitload of money from somewhere so they can build like fortresses under the water and
can't hit the broadside of a barn.
And still can't hit anything. They got laser guns. I mean, who's funding these people, man? But that's what the cartoon was about. You didn't really ask questions. You just kind of went with it. And guess what? The movie is one big cartoon also. You don't you don't ask questions, because I tell you what, if you ask questions, you will drive yourself mad, because it makes no goddamn sense whatsoever.
See, I disagree in as much as it makes sense within itself. Yeah, out in the real world, none of it. It's completely stupid. But it seemed to have its own kind of logic within its bubble.
Sort of. I mean, was stuff that I was like, oh man, this is so dumb, and then they'd fix it, and I'd go, oh. Well, they actually explained that.
Yeah, they actually kind of, there was some thought put into it. I mean, yeah, it's totally a cartoon. But to me, this is the kind of movie when people say like, well, it's just robots fighting each other. What did you expect? And I'm like, well, I expected something better. Here, it's just like, well, it's based on a toy. What did you expect? I'm like, this is pretty much what I expected.
Yeah, no, this would be, when I first saw Transformers, I was expecting something more like this, but I couldn't tell who was who in Transformers.
Exactly.
And here, I'm like, okay, I know who everybody is. I have a feeling. I'm a little annoyed with all the flashbacks. The only means you have of telling your story, your exposition, is through constantly going 4 years earlier, 20 years earlier. All right, we got it.
It starts out as somewhat of I even hate saying this with G.I. Joe, as a reimagining of the G.I. Joe mythology.
Wow.
But
sell it to me, Corey.
But here we go, man. So now the movie starts out with Duke, played by Channing Tatum and Marlon Wayans. And Marlon Wayans, I mean, Ripcord.
Oh, okay.
And Ripcord.
One of his most least annoying roles ever.
And Ripcord, in the action figure Ripcord, and the one in the cartoon was a white dude. They changed him black here. I guess he crashed in a plane and got burnt up. But anyway, and he came out as Marlon Wayans. But anyway, we start out with sort of the beginnings of how how they got into the Joe team. These two guys, they're the best on their team in the military, and they're guarding this weaponry, which is high-tech nanobots, which at first were used to cure cancer, but now they're used as weapons.
Well, they're the modern version of tachyons now. Remember when it used to be tachyons was the excuse for everything? Now it's nanobots.
Well, what the hell are you talking about?
That was in technobabble. It was always going to be tachyons.
Yeah, you know,
it's a theoretical particle they used to explain everything away in science fiction.
Tachyons, you know, that's what make Jedis Jedis.
I was about to say, I thought that was a Star Trek thing.
But no, so when they are attacked by an unknown, like, super force, super military troop, and they fail to retrieve this weaponry that they were trying to protect, they're saved by another troop of badass super military. But these
awesome
are
go-getters.
Yeah, but these are the good
fetishistic dressing military guys.
But these are the good guys. So they're brought in and said, you know what, guys, yeah, you fucked that mission up, but hey, you know, you're still pretty good at what you do, so we want to bring you to this secret organization called, guess what, G.I. Joe, headed up by Dennis Quaid, who plays General Hawk in this.
Really could have used a moment where Duke went, really, no, seriously, what's it called?
If you look, Dennis Quaid looked like he was about to crack a smile with every line he gave.
Well, he was doing a John Wayne impression in first.
And a really bad one, too.
Totally channeling John Wayne.
I was waiting for 2 slices of bread to come crashing down and slap him like right between the bread there, because he hammed it up so goddamn much. I mean, you wanted to spray paint some mustard on him and give him the Godzilla.
But yeah, you get to go to his underground fortress, and clearly to be in G.I. Joe is to play video games all day. Video games and drive virtual reality machines.
Underwater.
Well, there's a big,
no, under the pyramid.
There's a big press for time here going on because they don't know what's going to happen, and you know the bad guys are about to come in and try and get this weaponry back that they rescued. And so, of course, they managed to train these guys thoroughly to be super soldiers in what must have been a half an hour, I guess,
pretty much.
that took place.
Hey, man, you play enough video games, you could be a super soldier.
That's true.
Now, at this point, when they're brought in G.I. Joe, I mean, this is where they really just, I mean, they hit us with everything to remind us that, yes, this is based on a series of toys in the cartoon. This is where we get to meet the original Joe members that we remember from the cartoon, with Scarlet, Heavy Duty, and, of course, Snake Eyes, who pretty much looks like, I mean, the Snake Eyes in the cartoon wore this really slick outfit.
Stop it. Don't go down the road of, in the cartoon they did this.
No,
but in the movie they do this.
Well, no, because
you'll never stop.
No, but I have to just tell you, really, because this freaked me out. I mean, in the cartoon, Snake Eyes just wore like a wetsuit, but in here, it looks like a very dark black man with some goggles on. I mean, really, the brother looks like Wesley Snipes was naked with some goggles on.
It is funny when your mask fits over your teeth.
Yeah, I mean,
that was kind of distressing, really.
Well, the lips on
don't talk. But
the lips on that mask look like they're in desperate need of chapstick. So I don't know what was going on.
It really does look like, okay, is this dude wearing a really tight rubber suit, or did they just spray paint a guy black?
They got it from Discount Tires.
Yeah, and like tuck his peanuts between his legs and let him run around, because I mean, this suit it looks weird, and I can understand the body of the suit being all tight, but did the mask have to be so tight that you saw his lips? I don't even know how that brother's breathing.
Brendan Fraser's in it for like 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Does anyone know what character he was?
It was Gun something.
I could only imagine. Wow, I was just witness to how shitty a person's career can really get when you become a measly fucking extra in a G.I. Joe movie.
Stephen Sommers, he directed The Mummy. Brendan Fraser was in The Mummy, so they brought Brendan Fraser to be the Brendan Fraser. I imagine we'd see an action figure that actually says Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser is Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, and a beret and a military suit. But see, now, you hear us talking here. Right now, there's some 30-year-old nerd out there saying to himself, why, this isn't the G.I. Joe I remember. I'm going to boycott this movie. Shut up. So they took some liberties with a dumb cartoon that was a 30-minute commercial for the toys. Now, unlike Transformers, which was another Hasbro property, I always thought that originally had a cool origin story. G.I. Joe, on the other hand, I always thought that was kind of goofy.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, if you're really sitting there nitpicking against the cartoon, I mean, I hate to quote Shatner, but get a life. Yeah. I mean, really, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with liking the cartoon, but you're going to be sorely disappointed by a lot of things in life. Okay,
right? Yeah, not just this movie, but life itself. You know, I mean, it was like whoever's created the cartoon. The guys who made the movie must have gone from the same original blueprint and just said, like, okay, we'll just do our own thing, and it's just as good and just as bad. I mean, it's as stupid as this movie is, because it's never smart at all. I give it points on the fact that like I was never bored in it. There was always stuff happening, and I only really my biggest problem with the movie. Okay, other than the fact that it's really dumb.
Some of the acting is really bad.
Yeah. Oh man, some of the acting is horrible.
my God.
Especially Dennis Quaid. Like the older the actors were, the worse they were in
That's
it.
very true. Yeah, I think the only reason I
think
liked the
it's cool.
ninja character best was because he didn't
didn't
actually
talk.
talk.
And somebody tried to tell me, I mean, seriously, somebody that I respect tried to sit up there and tell me, they said, you know something, this movie really does have a lot of character because they go into flashback and they tell you so much about who these people are. And I'm thinking, the flashbacks were some of the dumbest things in the movie.
I was about to say, who told you that? The director?
It is that kind of thing where like, you want to use a flashback to reveal what started all this. And when they finally do, you go, really? That's what it was?
Like Storm Shadow is I guess the guy in all white. He's the bad Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
The Asperger snake eyes. Because he just fights shit. Anytime anything gets in his way, he hits it as near as I can tell. That's all he does.
Buying Han Lee or who gives a shit? Nobody knows
that mattered. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, really. His last name is Lee. You know, guess who he is?
Mr. Lee.
Yeah, but they give a flashback between like Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes. In the movie, you get the feeling that okay, these guys kind of grew up together. They must be probably in their late 20s, early 30s, but they go into flashback and it's like ancient in Japan.
Oh, no.
I mean, they show these guys as kids and their master is training them and the master comes out in a robe and in a beard and it's like, cause they're in a temple and everything and those two guys are fighting. It's almost like a video game. They're like, Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, fight. Hold on. And for a while, you're thinking you're in ancient Japan until the master whips out his cell phone and he's like, hello? Yes, that was a large pepperoni. Extra cheese. Yes. You know, it's just like,
keep fighting. Finish him. No anchovies. I'm sorry. Give me gas.
And it's like, why are you talking like that?
Because he's Asian. That's why he talks like that.
Man.
Don't you know that's how Asians talk? They talking like this. Snake Eyes, good.
I think there's the whole
Storm
motivation.
Shadow, bad.
The whole motivation of the bad guy is like when you find out, like you're saying, you're just like, what? That's it? You're a moron. Right? I mean, he's supposed to be super intelligent, and you're still pissed off about that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But what I was going to say was like, I just thought this movie went too long. And not so much like hours wise, but like there was a point when I was kind of gave up and kind of got with it. Like, I reluctantly kind of liked this movie. And then toward the end, it got really fucking stupid where it was like, oh, you like this? Well, what if we do this? I'm like, okay, fine. Forget it then.
Well, they went totally video game cutscene CG in the
Man, that last 20 minutes was
You're like,
nothing but quick
on.
cuts and explosions and fights. But it's like, oh, well, how else do you wrap it up?
I think the other problem is because it was shot underwater.
Yes, of course it was. What a gigantic budget they must have had. I don't know where it went, but
it was because it was so funny. I mean, when they went underwater, like they had so many special effects in this movie, and they had a school of fish swim by. And I just like that. Y'all just didn't give a shit about these fish. I mean, they could have had some plastic fish on a stick and made them move around. Because I like that looks really fake. But
those were like the fish in the Zelda on N64 level. Of
there's a lot of effect shots, especially early on, of the planes and the ships that just look horrible.
Oh my God, they look horrible.
Yeah.
But yet, there's that one great scene in the movie when the guys the two main Joes, our new Joes, don these super fast moving suits.
Yeah, they're
and
Japanese
that
mech
whole
suits.
chase sequence is